tikat kwati si paho tikatan ngitin dahwid na to ti ko sana agi paga ha ti na ge ya che ya tikat the never ta no ya tikat be ba hotel zanda ya ashi iskanati nada hanepatati te but kana ke se ta yoshi o ya ti ko le Bitter Springs ne nde hat ka jo ya ti ka sa ho so ya to ne ya ta yoshi sa aron de ton de ni ge in de pa I don't know, it's a na ahegi I think at Adganic as you get a yoji go I think at Vermillion Cliffs that they snow. I don't think you net I think at the ehegi I think the neck as you get a yoji I think at not of zeal that they sneeze. I don't stop Adganic as you get a yoji go I think at the kaibabs that they sneeze. If you bank it with net all day. This is also a part of the Navajo Nation. This is where you get into the Navajo Reservation from the north. And all the way along the river, which is something you can see down along the bottom here, that's this side of the Vermillion Cliffs, and then of course Marble Canyon that goes right down into the Grand Canyon further down. The road we're standing by is 89 coming north out of Flagstaff. And this road was not constructed until probably about the mid-50s or early 50s. But it had to have a cut through this cliff that we are standing by, which is called the Vermillion Cliffs. Now, just about maybe a mile down from this point here, there's a natural path that goes up over the Vermillion Cliffs, and they call that, in the language of our people, they call it Jedahabatin, which means that the trail that was used by the antelope. And that's near this place that is now called Bitter Springs. And then we have, of course, the big cut through the Eckle Cliffs right up here about a half a mile. And it gets up on top of this plateau here before it goes down and towards the city of Page. There's a lot of history in that, ancient history about the area. Of course, at one time we are told that all of this area down below was very green, had a lot of vegetation all the way down along the little contributory to the Little Colorado, that nowadays, of course, they have it, it's the Hamlin Wash. But that used to be something that was fed by natural springs. And that goes right down into the area where Tuba City is nowadays. In the language of our people, Tuba City is called Tonanestiza, which means where there is much water in all different directions. It's a tangle of water area, Tonanestiza. But this Eckle Cliff extends down into that area, and that's the only place that you can actually cross the cliffs. But north of that, about another 20 miles or so, is a place that is now called the Gap. That was also a place where you could actually cut through the over the top of this Vermillion Cliff, and then there were animal trails on that. Of course, just the antelope path that crosses it over here just south of us, and then they had to cut the big cut here just to get the highway traffic through. And there are a number of small paths on that are north of here all the way to the Colorado River. Behind us there's the Kaibab Plateau, and they are high enough, actually they are called the mountains. And in the language of our people, they refer to it as the Natohtzil, which is that they could harvest tobacco from that area, the traditional tobacco that was very strong. And so that's the name of that particular plateau behind us, and it's high enough, as I say, that it still has snow on it. And the Colorado River, of course, passes to the south of that before it gets into the Grand Canyon. And there's a lot of history in that is also about the people that used to live down in this area. So there are a lot of petroglyphs in that coming north from present-day Tuba City along this Eckle Cliff and out into the open areas and even down into the Grand Canyon. And people lived in that area, and also people lived along the river. And so in this particular area, there's a lot of history in that. And the other thing I might mention is that there was a lot of natural vegetation here. You can see the grasses and that along the highway here. But at one time, all of this grass was down into the bottom, and it was a grassland out into the flats behind us. And a young man from over now what is now Fort Defiance married up into this area. And he was from the place that they called Taho over there in that area. But because he married down into this area, the people called the place where he married into the family of Taho. So people used to call this area here Taho. But there's history in that even before that particular time period. When people were being rounded up to be sent to the prison, a lot of them came down here in this area and crossed the river down here at what is now present-day Lee's Ferry to go to the north of the river. Now the river to this day, of course, is very important because all of the reservation area is south of the Colorado River. And the thing about it is that when you look at a map and you see the outline of the reservation, and when you look on a map, you can see that the only state that the Navajo Reservation does not extend into is the Colorado state. And there is a reason for that. Now, I don't know if they mention this in the history books or anything, but when they had imprisoned the Navajos for those 4 years, from 1864 to 1868, they chased all the Navajo people off of the land area that they had occupied. And much of that was, of course, below the sacred mountains, the Mount Hesperus and Mount Blanca. And when they removed the Navajos from there, of course, they discovered gold and silver up into that part of the country. So when it came to resurveying the land, and after they were making agreements with the Navajo tribe, the people from Colorado, of course, had a lot of political clout. And so they said, we don't want the Navajos to move back into those land areas that they had occupied. The state of Colorado is the only one that had the political clout to keep the Navajos out of the lands that they had occupied previously, because of the discovery of gold and silver. So you have a lot of gold and silver mines up in that particular area. But it is lands on that was taken away from the Navajo people, the Dene. And that's also a part of our history. It's very important to know that the history of the Dene, it covers a lot of information and that our young people need to be aware of. And the only way that you can become aware of those issues is to actually learn the correct history. Don't depend on people imposing their interpretation of events and that has taken place in and around this area concerning the Dene and the state governments and the federal governments and the county governments and so on. And I encourage young people. That means learn our history. Learn the history of our people correctly. And the other thing is they never called it really the Nebekaya, which means the property or the land of. They always refer to it as Denetcha, which means among the Dene. And so there is actually, you could not really say in our language of our people in the old days that it was land that belonged to only the Dene. That's not what it means. At one time it was understood that you could not own land, you could own nothing. And to this day, actually, that carries on. We don't own anything. And we don't even feel like we're entitled to the things that our people have had in the past history. And so I always want to encourage our young people, learn the correct history. It is so very important to know because it has an impact on the things that are going on right now. Try to acquire the correct information. And I share with you these things and the things that we are told.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.